Well, road conditions are starting to get a little bit better in the Fort Smith area, but the sleet the River Valley saw has made it a little harder to clear out. This is what the roads looked like on Tuesday afternoon. Quite a bit of progress has been made even today, especially on city streets in Fort Smith, with the sunshine being a major help.
As it melts, our road graders are actually able to break up some of that ice as they're going around all the streets right now. And as that ice breaks up, it's easier to go back with another pass and end up scooping it up with a plow. So they're working hard to make sure our roads are clear.
They say the goal is to have a majority of all city streets cleared by the end of the week. Well, many blood donation centers have been canceled due to icy road conditions. This has caused an emergency appeal for donations. Dozens of donation drives wiped out in Fort Smith are leading to an even greater platelet and O-negative blood shortage. Nearly 40% of those donations usually come from schools and universities. And with campuses closed due to bad weather, it has made the blood shortage even more challenging.
About 5 schools so far during this, which hurt us very badly. Tomorrow we had 2 schools that were going to go and they canceled on us. So we're going to be looking at rescheduling those. So now the only choice we have is to come out to things like this and set up emergency blood drives.
They are hopeful that more donations will roll in over the weekend and encourage everyone to donate if they can. Well, in Fort Smith, city directors are talking about asking the Arkansas Attorney General to investigate the cost of installing new slides at Parrot Island. But in its study session last night, the board decided to hold off for a while before asking the AG. A few of the directors said that they believe the company the city bought the slides from failed to make it clear how much it would cost to get them installed. Directors did place on next week's voting agenda a plan to hire a third-party CPA firm to conduct a full audit on the park's finances. Well, on Capitol Hill, Arkansas Congressman French Hill introduced a bill which is designed to help Americans with disabilities find work. The Ticket to Work Awareness Act has sponsors from both sides of the aisle and would require Social Security to better promote an existing job training program, which would allow people to work without losing benefits. Hill calls it a simple, cost-free way to boost independence and opportunity. Well, 3 weeks after the firing of the city's police chief, Hartford Mayor Alan Tabor says a new top cop has taken the helm. The mayor says Mark James started in his position this week and previously served as a chief in Webbers Falls, Oklahoma. Former Chief Kelly Perez was terminated from her position on January 5th. And over 3 weeks later, we still are not sure why. Well, Stacey Lee Drake, the man accused of 3 murders in Oklahoma, was set to have a status hearing today in Sequoyah County. It's now been rescheduled to March 10th. Drake is accused of killing Tara Underwood and Taylor Sharp in June 2024. He's also charged with murder for the 2024 death of Philip Emerson in Canadian County. Drake has pleaded not guilty to those charges and faces a 4th murder charge in Alabama in connection with the death of Russell Andrews. Right now, Drake's jury trial is scheduled for February of next year. Well, the starting date for a policy that was taking shape at Arkansas state prisons has now been pushed back, and it's unclear when it will go into effect. The policy would mean books and magazines can no longer be sent directly to inmates. The Board of Corrections says an administrative rule is preventing the policy from going into effect at the start of the month. BOC's Rand Champion says that it will have to go through more steps before prisons can start the policy.
So it will have to go through legislative review. It will have to go through a public comment period. It will have to go in front of the governor's office. So there's a lot of steps to get that through. So because of that, I don't really have a timeline as to how long that will take. We'll probably go before the Board of Corrections again at a future meeting. I think that's probably the first step, is for them to approve it, to go through this process, to start the administrative rule.
The BOC says that it wants to stop an uptick in books being sent with synthetic drugs. The policy has been criticized by some advocates for being too restrictive. The BOC claims that it doesn't outright ban books, it only limits how they can be sent. Well, the threat of a partial government shutdown is looming following the weekend killing of Minneapolis resident Alex Preddy by federal agents. Friday's deadline is fast approaching, and Democrats are pushing for policy changes to ICE, and a growing number want Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to step down. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest.
Secretary.
Democratic leaders are calling for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to be fired or face impeachment proceedings in the aftermath of Saturday's shooting death of Alex Preddy.
She's deeply unqualified. She never should have been confirmed to begin with by Senate Republicans.
More than 160 House Democrats have signed on to an impeachment resolution. While it's unlikely to move forward in the Republican-controlled Congress, a growing number of GOP lawmakers are calling for an impartial investigation into the incident. And at least two Republican senators, Tom Tillis and Lisa Murkowski, say Noem should step down.
She has taken this administration into the ground on an issue that we should own. We should own the issue of border security and immigration.
So far, President Trump appears to be standing by her, saying she's doing a great job.
She was there with the border. Who closed up the border? She did, with Tom Homan, with the whole group.
The backlash over the shooting and immigration crackdown in Minneapolis has also triggered a standoff on Capitol Hill over a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, with a deadline Friday.
The Senate must not pass the DHS budget as currently written.
Democrats are pushing for reforms to be included in the negotiation.
I am looking for a series of changes in conduct so that Border Patrol and ICE are following standards that most of us expect of every state and local law enforcement officer.
The structure of the bill actually provides incredible safeguards and a lot of progress.
Senate Republicans want to move forward with a vote on the funding measure without changes, saying other agencies such as FEMA and TSA would be impacted by a partial shutdown. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.